Right, well, we will kick off now. So thank you for joining us, everyone. And for those that have just joined, again, my name is Sarah Wheaton, and I'm an account manager here at KMTech. So we run these workshops regularly, usually monthly, and we have quite a sincere following. So we love to see everybody popping back in to follow along with what we are able to provide in terms of learning around all things IT, and we have had obviously a very strong focus on Copilot and AI in general over the last 12 months as the interest has really ramped up. So thank you for taking time out of your busy day to join us, and thank you and welcome back to those that joined us earlier in March. So today is really about moving beyond the theory. So for our workshop today, we're not going to spend a lot of time on understanding around what Copilot is or what AI is, because we know that everybody is well aware. So that's great. Today is going to be more about what's actually changed, what you can do now with Copilot, and how to start applying it to your day-to-day work. Introduce to you our speakers. So for those that have been joining us for quite some time, you'll see these now as regular faces. We've got Aidan Clifford, who's joining us first and foremost. Aidan is the manager of Microsoft Alliances for the Unpacked area at Pax8. So Aidan works closely with partners, KMT being one, across the region, helping organisations make sense of where Microsoft is heading, and more importantly, how to turn it into real outcomes. And also we have got back for a second time, Barath, who's joining us from Pax8 also. He's the Microsoft Business Applications Lead at Pax8. He's very hands-on in this space, and he'll be taking us through how agents actually work and how you can start building them yourselves. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Aidan to kick off, and welcome, Aidan.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Sarah, and thanks for having me back again. It's great to see some familiar names in the attendees today, so I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. So I'll just kick off with a couple of slides. As Sarah mentioned, please do put any questions in the Q&A or in the chat. Really, the thing that I love about these sessions is making sure that we make some of these ideas that we hear a lot about in the marketplace just really tangible and real outcomes for how they make a big difference, especially in SMBs in Australia. A lot of the messaging goes to your American enterprise customers and those sort of things. We want to make sure that we make these real big opportunities and productivity gains really tangible for everyone here today. So please do put any questions in the chat, and we'll make sure we take breaks in order to answer those. As far as an agenda for today, where we want to extend from some of the previous sessions where we've had some hands-on looks at where Copilot is from more of that sort of chat-based perspective. How do you have that one-to-one conversation with your Copilot model in order to get the response back? We're looking to extend that into where the world of agents really starts to change things from being your sort of AI chat in order to your AI doer. So how does it manage to sort of bring those interactions with you, start to make differences to your documents from your instructions and do multi-stage impacts from there, and then start to extend that out into how you can actually build those from scratch without having a developer background, which historically has been a massive blocker to getting some of these solutions, which Barath will have to show some live demos on, which will be really awesome. So we will have some question time at the end as well, but please do jump in throughout the session if there's anything we can answer to add a bit more context. So without further ado, let's have a look at Copilot and Agents. So what I wanted to do with this slide today is just show a bit more about where have we historically spoken about Copilot, where have we sort of seen that experience where a lot of people have been hands-on with ChatGPT or different solutions out in the marketplace. But now if we're talking about non-Microsoft solutions as well, a lot of people are starting to talk about Claude. They're starting to talk about co-work abilities and the ways to start to integrate what was historically seen as a separate conversation through agents into how is this now starting to interact with the chat experience as well, and starting to turn everyone into a sort of a more of a developer scenario where you can start to have your ideas, start to ideate them with your Copilot buddy, and then turn that into an actual action-based interaction with it. And we'll dig into what that means a little bit later, but effectively what we're doing is starting to talk to our AI assistant to start to manipulate our documents, go through multi-stage steps in order to get that outcome at the end of the day, which is a huge advancement forward for how we've been able to utilize Copilot. So whilst it's still really valuable at the start of this conversation, utilizing the free chat functionality within Copilot for your M365 users, it really just creates this baseline of how can everyone start to have that Copilot and AI interaction from a secure baseline. So if you're starting to still see people using ChatGPT or they're not using an AI tool at work, chances are people are finding a way. I think the most recent statistics I saw is about 3/4 of SMB users in Australia are using AI, but only about 71% of them have actually been condoned by the business, or 71% haven't been condoned by the business. So there's a huge gap between businesses with a plan and the businesses that have AI within the organization. So that's really a big part of shadow AI that we need to have a bit of a think about. So thinking about chat on the left-hand side of the screen, that's just a really good way just to create that baseline of everyone starts to get those incremental benefits, but you're also incorporating the security and the compliance measurements of Microsoft in there as well. Where things start to really extend, and there has been an advancement within the Copilot ecosystem over the past few months, is the introduction of agents. So agents used to sort of historically been the action side of the AI equation. It used to be a bit more around creating custom agents through things like Copilot Studio or more professional development tools. Now, not only are these being built into the applications you use every day, so thinking your Excel, PowerPoint, Word, etc., but now there's also a very low code or no code approach with Brett will show us in order to how to start building those out through something called Agent Builder, which is a really kind of natural language approach to start to create some really meaningful interactions there as well. Something which we have touched upon in each of our sessions today, but it is really worth a conversation with the KMT team if you haven't made a plan here yet or haven't made any assessments or readiness conversations around your AI investments, is the IT controls. So making sure if you are making an investment in AI, there is going to be a cost if you're going through the paid tools. You want to make sure that that ROI is going to be there from day one. So how do you measure the success? How do you measure the way that everyone across the business is utilizing these tools to make sure if anyone's being falling behind, you have some training, buddy them up with someone who's a bit more of a power user in the organization. So just seeing that usage from that initial standpoint, but then also more importantly, making sure that people only have access to the right data at the right time, and that we know who's got access to our network as well, and making sure we're measuring and creating suitable policies across that framework as well. So this is where it really combines together to make a really rich approach to how we're investing in AI in a business setting. Whereas in your personal life, you may use ChatGPT, you may use Claude, you may use DeepSeek or any of these other names that we hear out in the marketplace. But when it comes to your business and your data, it really is beneficial and crucial to make sure there is a plan about how you can do that compliantly and securely. But if we're starting to focus a bit more about where the agent conversation starts to kick off, really just thinking about your agent as a digital teammate. So one of the ways that we've seen people not have success with AI in the past is you go and you say things like, please prioritize my inbox, but not very clear instructions. AI will try its best, and it just does a bit of a mishmash job because it starts to make decisions without having any parameters of how that job needs to be done. If you think about it as your digital teammate, it's only as good as its instructions. So if we think about the prompts that we start to give our digital teammate, give it the information that it needs, it then will start doing the heavy lifting for us and finding the right answers with the right context that we've given it as well. So where we're starting to able to work with these agents is it's answering our questions from the first and foremost. So it's starting to look across all of our internal data. If we've got our paid M365 license, so emails, chats, files, etc. So it's really rich across our estate to find the right data at the right time. But now where things are starting to change really for the benefit is it does the task for you. So there's ways for it to then go through, summarize documents, and then move to what's the next step. Sending an email to someone, setting up a Teams meeting, putting calendar invites in place, or whether it's going to be putting it into a certain document style or format, whereas previously this may have been a bit of a struggle for that model. So we're seeing a lot of advancements, a lot of sophistication as to where we get to that next step really quickly. Where agents can then extend that conversation is owning the workflow as well. So rather than that one-to-one interaction and job done, we can then model it around if it's a repeatable scenario, like creating an invoice or onboarding a new customer or any of these sort of bits and pieces, create that workflow so we can repeat it each time, narrow down those parameters so we can control the quality of that work, and then make sure that agent is fully set up and ready to go. So when we ask it each time to deliver on that, it's going to be making sure it fulfills that brief accurately each time. So just to kind of touch a little bit more on where we start to separate out the conversation between Microsoft 365 Copilot, where we've had a few of these sessions, and where agents really starts to kick off and be successful. So M365 Copilot, as we've discussed, it covers across your M365 data and the applications that we've always used day to day. It's using our daily interactions as the data, mostly for the information it's accessing. So work meetings, documents, emails, the internet, if we're asking for external information as well. And it's really helping with that rich text experience of writing, summarizing, analyzing, and the features are getting more rich here, particularly if you look at PowerPoint or Excel. But it is user driven. So each time this is happening, it's not scheduled in place. We're not setting up a repeatable parameter. it's you asking one-to-one for it to complete that job. So it does require you as the engine for that to happen. Where agents makes it particularly interesting is you are creating these experiences. They can be no code, such as a similar Copilot interaction. They can go up to more developed tools with a bit more technical know-how as well, bringing in external data and making it a bit of a richer experience. If we're looking to invest in a repeatable, like we're thinking about a bottleneck, we're thinking about repeatable processes, how to get the biggest productivity gain back. That's probably where we're thinking about agents first and foremost and automating workflows. But it's more goal-driven. So if something happens repeatedly, once a week, once a fortnight, even once a day, we can start to get that agent to complete that process time and time again. And we can adjust it over and over again, but it makes sure you're capturing that productivity each time versus me remembering at 8 o'clock every morning, I need to go summarize my emails or need to replace my Teams meetings with a different function. We're making sure that agent is working side by side for us, and we can just monitor that it is completing those roles for us as well. But if we start designing smarter with workflows in agent mode, this is where we start to see a bit more of the difference and sort of touching a bit more about where that one-to-one experience is coming versus a multitask partner that we can work with day to day with our AI agent. So without an agent, as we're saying, it's sort of a one-shot prompt. So we're asking Copilot to complete something. It's completing that job. It's doing a good job, but we need to be the one every time. Speaking to some clients recently, they'd have a Word doc open on the right-hand side of their screen with all of their favorite prompts or things that they want Copilot to do. But obviously, it's creating a bit more of a new inefficiency for them because they need to know where that doc is. They need to make sure it's open, going copy and pasting. And that's kind of like we're solving a problem, but it's not really going as far as AI is able to assist us. If we think about agent mode, we could start scheduling these things in. So saying every Monday, 8 a.m., for example, summarize all the emails that I haven't read. This is when we can start to utilize that agent to start repeating those processes. And we just review either the output or we review the workflow, and we can go through and adjust it from there. But realistically, we're getting that rich plain English interaction that we've always had with our Copilot interaction. But now we're sort of building the workflow around us that we can just be the manager of, versus needing to be the one that executes time and time again. So it's really changing up how much productivity we can gain. And also, if I'm thinking about all of these tasks, I'll forget them eventually. So there'll be days that I'm good with my AI, there's days that I won't be as good with my AI. But if I've got my agents securely set up and I know the workflows that I trust those, then they're always going to be operating. So it'll make sure that they don't slip through the gaps there for me. So we will have some interactions where we can start to see it through the applications that we're using day to day. One thing I did want to touch upon this is Microsoft is shifting the language a little bit around agents within the applications. So where previously Microsoft may have just said Copilot is available within Word, it's available in PowerPoint and Excel, now they're starting to differentiate. So you've got the chat functionality, which is what we'd sort of see traditionally as that ChatGPT style interaction is available within the applications. So talking about the information in there, summarizing, drafting, these sort of bits and pieces. But now they've sort of taken the expression agent within the applications out as well. And it's more indicative of editing documents, creating more rich experiences from there, taking that information and turning it into something else. So if we're manipulating our data, manipulating our documentation, that's where Microsoft is shifting that language to call it more the agentic, the agent approach. So just where you see that, you may think that matches up a bit more to my old experience. This is where Microsoft is trying to sort of set the tone for where these conversations head in the future. And if we think about agents within our applications, it's a really rich approach in how it's able to manipulate documents and turn it into that next stage versus just chatting about the information that's in there, doing some research or doing some high-level thinking about the document we have in front of us. One of the reasons we sort of focus on this part of the conversation a little bit more today is because the advancements in the agentic approach within these applications has come a long way in the past 6 months in particular. So I think when we started this series, we're playing around in Excel and PowerPoint. It's doing a pretty good job, but it probably wasn't blowing everyone away every single time. I wouldn't let those first impressions last anymore. So I would go back into Excel, I'd go back into PowerPoint in particular and start playing around with how I can start to create these presentations from scratch, looking and feeling like a brand template that we want to without having to do it on the back end. You can start to be a bit more high level with the changes that you want, or a little bit more high level with the prompts that you want out of Excel, like doing VLOOKUPs to multiple columns at the same time and these sort of bits and pieces. It's getting a lot smarter and a lot faster. So do try that out. If you tried it about a year ago or 2 years ago and weren't blown away, now's the perfect time to jump back in and give it another go.
I agree. I've definitely noticed that, Aidan, and as I think I've always professed, I'm not an Excel whiz, and it's just been so helpful using the agent within Excel lately. Tenfold, yeah. Difference is amazing.
Yeah, and Brett will go through and show a bunch of demos, particularly around Agent Builder. But that's been my experience as well. If we're thinking about taking Excel data, turning it into the next stage, like a board report or a QBR for a client, or all of these different bits and pieces, that is the most time-consuming part. It's very capable now. If you put the prompt in of the audience what you want, it's been blowing me away for the past little while, and I think introducing those Claude models have been instrumental.
Yep.
But
all right.
Pass over to Bharath to start walking through a bit more of the live demos of these sort of things. So over to you, Bharath.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, Aidan. I mean, really great to see some familiar faces again. So I think what I want to do over the next few minutes is, take you through something pretty deliberate, right? So Aidan did cover a lot around the whole, Copilot or the agentic approach within some of the productivity apps, and how agents can help to do your task on behalf of you or for your departments and everything. But I think before we actually get into how to build an agent within Agent Builder and what Agent Builder looks like, I think I should probably go through some of the Copilot capabilities, or the editing feature within Copilot with some of the productivity apps that you use on a day-to-day basis. So we'll be going through some 3 different examples or demos today, and actually see how you can use Copilot, or how you can use Copilot within some of the common productivity apps, especially like Excel and Microsoft Word, which are some of the apps that everyone uses day to day, right? So people never sort of close these apps even towards the end of the day, so they sort of keep the apps open to for the continuity of the work. So we'll be going through on how you're going to use the agent mode within the Excel to sort of manipulate it, some complex data that you have, and see how Copilot can actually do the analysis on behalf of you. And also we will be going through an exercise of drafting and proposal to a customer, where the data is fetched from the Excel worksheet that you are working with, and going through some of the 100 emails that you have in your inbox. So let's get into it. I'll just share my screen. And as I said, feel free to post your questions in the chat.
Yeah. Pop any questions in there. No questions so far I can report in, so everything's smooth sailing. But if you have any questions, pop them in there and we'll feed them through to Bharath at the time.
Cool. Hope everyone can see my screen now.
Yeah, we can see your Excel spreadsheet.
Cool, awesome. That's what we want. Right. So I just want to quickly set the scene here, right? So let's assume that I've got a customer called Contasio Financial, and one of the leaders or the CEOs has sent an email flagging an revenue dip in one of the Q4's numbers, and wanted to have a commercial review next day morning. So I've got 200 rows of sales data sitting right here, but I've got no time to sort of filter, pivot, or write any commentary, and crucially no time to actually check whether other customers talk to them or doing the same thing. So what we'll be doing is we'll be going through the agent mode, or the the feature or the editing features within Copilot, and see how you can actually generate the report and do some analysis, and so you can present it back to your leaders or your customers and get ready for your meeting. Right. So this is an example sample sales workbook, as you can see here. So you got 200 rows of data across multiple customers that we work with, every quarter of the year, every region. So now, I mean, I could absolutely use the filter feature to sort of filter down to a particular client, in this case, which is Contasio Financial, and find the Q4 data manually, sort of eyeball the numbers. So that is the way we have all done this for years, and it absolutely works fine. But today I want to show you something different, right? So I'm not going to do this analysis step by step myself. So I'm going to hand the whole thing to Copilot, in agent mode, and let it work it through for me. So try and look into this. So in terms of how you can access Copilot, so this is again an ever-changing UI from Microsoft. Earlier you would have seen Copilot on the top right corner within the productivity app. Now this is a new update that Microsoft has rolled out, where you can access Copilot, which sort of flows around on the bottom right corner. So and whenever you click Copilot, this is sort of the familiar interface that you would have come across even when you open a standalone Copilot app. So this is the normal interface that you get, and the main difference between a chat and the editing mode or the agent mode within Copilot is, the chat feature is brilliant for say one-shot questions, like you ask it and it answers it, whereas the editing mode or the agent mode is different, right? So in this editing mode, you're able to describe the outcome that you want, and Copilot plans the steps itself. So and Copilot also works through them one by one, and at the same time it also narrates what it is doing as it goes, and only comes back to us when the whole job is done. So think of it less like a chatbot and more like handing a junior team member or a junior analyst a brief and then walking away. So I'm going to give the prompt that I want to achieve here to Copilot, and we'll just go through it on a step-by-step basis. So, oops.
So can you can read through that prompt
Yeah.
for us, just in case some of us our glasses aren't strong enough?
We'll try and zoom it a bit.
Yeah.
Cool. So basically what I have done, what I've told Copilot is, I've told Copilot to act as my analyst or sales analysis, and I've asked Copilot to use the table on the sheet and do 3 things in order for me, right? So the reason is I've got a commercial meeting that has come up. I've got an email from one of the leaders saying there's been a dip in one of the quarters, on the sales numbers. So I wanted to understand the reference. So I've asked Copilot to identify my top 5 customers, by total 2026 revenue. And the other question is, and for every customers in the top 10, I want to know what is the Q4 revenue drop of more than 10% versus Q3 in 2026, and I've asked it to present it, in a table with the customer details and the percentage change. And at the same time, I also want to reply back to my customer. So I've asked Copilot to write a 1-paragraph commentary in a plain language that I can, sort of paste into an email to do a follow-up back to the leader, and then do some analysis and on what it is done. So these are multiple tasks, right? So and for us to do this analysis on an Excel sheet is going to take hours. So you are pretty much handing over the task to the Copilot, within these productivity apps to do the work on behalf of you. And as you can see here, you can see on how Copilot has planned the things, on a step-by-step basis. So step 1, it is saying that it has analyzed the data, that's there in the spreadsheet, right? So and then it has found that there's been some format issues to do the analysis, so it has gone in and fixed the format issues as well. And once that's done, then it has come back with the total analysis details. So it has given me a response in a table format on the top 5 customers, for the 2026 revenues. So these are my top 5 customers for the company, that has the highest revenue. Now, then it has given me the top 10 customers with the Q4 revenue drop, which is greater than 10%. So this sort of gives the more detailed change, and at the same time, it has also given me the percentage of change of minus 33.5% is probably not a good change to have. So it's probably a risk that needs to be checked upon. So and also it has even drafted me an email commentary that I can just take back and go in and reply back to the customer. So this is the response that you have received, in line within the Copilot app. But as you can see here on the side, you can see that Copilot has created the same tables within Excel in itself, where you can actually have the data saved within Excel and make
ready
changes.
to go. Yeah.
So and finally, it has given me the 1-line summary in terms of what are the details that's needed, where is the decline among the top 10 customers, and what needs to be done to sort of maintain the growth across the quarter. So this is one of the benefits or the time sync mechanism that you can see in terms of using Copilot within these productivity applications. So as you can see here, let me try and zoom in again. So whenever you click on the Copilot within Excel, right now it comes up with 3 different options. It used to be like 1 option earlier. So you can either use Copilot as chat only, right? So which everyone knows, it's you ask a question about the data present within this application that Copilot can go through and gives back a response. The option which we used is the allow editing, which is the rebranded or reframed terminology for agent mode within Copilot. So where you are allowing Copilot to edit your document directly, which is the time saver that you can get. And at the same time, you can ask Copilot to come up with a plan before editing, so you can do a manual review. So assume this document is being used by all the top leaders, and you don't want Copilot to directly make changes or add any details to the spreadsheet. Is one of the use cases that you can use this plan feature, where you can ask Copilot to actually plan the details, required details, for you. And then you can verify those details, and then you can ask Copilot to make modifications or add or update any required details to a spreadsheet. So this is sort of one of the examples that I'm showing you in terms of what Copilot can do. For us to, as an individual, for me to create particularly this information, where to do some analysis against Q3 versus Q4 drop that is greater than 10%, is going to take at least an hour or so, for me to create this data. Whereas, Copilot was able to do it in what I would say minutes or seconds. So that's the benefits that as an individual, or the productivity sort of increases for an individual when you make use of Copilot in a right manner. I don't want to dwell into the details of the prompt. I know we had a session last time in terms of how to write a good prompt. So we are pretty much following the same principles in terms of to write the prompt, which is sort of the having the goal in here, having the context, having the expectation, and also having the source for the Copilot. So those are the sort of the 4 ingredients of how to frame up a good prompt. So yeah, have those in mind. Have a prompt, write a good prompt, and then so Copilot can give a better output, depending on the prompt that you give. Cool.
Yeah, that's good. And thank you for summarizing it again too, because probably not everybody was here earlier, but we did talk about how we going to put as much into that prompt to frame it to get the best result ultimately. So you can see now we're having quite a larger enriched prompt, where before we might chat backwards and forwards with Copilot, and sometimes we might get a bit frustrated in the results. So just putting all of those key ingredients in there is going to help us get what we need sooner. So I'm just having a look at some of the questions. How to write a good prompt session recorded? Yes, it was recorded actually. So it's a good question from Naomi. So Naomi, we do host all of our recordings on the KMT website under our webinars section. And I believe, and I'll just get a nod from my behind the scenes Charlie, if we also host them on our YouTube channel. Yes, we do. So you can always see them there as well. So you can find us on YouTube or on our website. There's a couple of questions coming in, and we love questions, so keep them coming.
Sarah, I just have been there just on the how to write a good prompt side of things, because it's a classic thing in tech, is the output is only as good as the input. But I did do a screenshot into the chat just around the prompt ingredients, just for reference, before you get a chance to watch that on-demand session, around the goal, context, source, and expectations. But one thing that I found very handy as far as trying to get the most out of your interaction with AI as well is I put a bit of a stream of consciousness into Copilot half the time. And I just put at the start, please structure this as an effective prompt, and then I run it again after it's already given me what I've sort of entered through with all of the ideas that I want to put on the table. Make sure I've just sort of it's a bit of a mishmash, bit of a scrapbook of all of the things that I want it to achieve. But if you put it through then the lens of help me structure this, extract this in dot points, turn this into an effective prompt, and then get Copilot to run it, time and time again, I've been getting a much better output than if I'm trying to sit there, think about every perfect way to structure this prompt as well. Get the AI to do the heavy lifting for you.
Using AI to talk to your AI tool, that's a great idea. Couple of other little things in there. Missed the instructions on how to turn agent mode on. So that was interesting. I don't know if you can do a quick change back scroll up to show where we are turning agent mode on, or ultimately showing that the fact that we're in agent edit mode, I think, was it called, Barath?
Yeah,
you scroll up
I think
to
it
your
now
prompt.
calls us the
allow
editing.
So Naomi, just to address that, I hadn't noticed that either. I'm gonna say I was in Excel, it was doing more grand things than I realized, but I didn't realize that it's now sort of in that agentic mode, allow editing as a standard. Would you say it's always going to be on there, and then you can deselect or choose chat or plan instead, but it's now in the prompt section where it's allow editing, Naomi, for you. In case it changes the data, is it possible we retrieve them? So I'm just looking at a question from Hamid. So in case it changes the data, is it possible we retrieve them? I'm trying to interpret that, Hamid, so feel free to write some extra words in there. I think what you might be asking is that in case what we've asked during the prompt changes some of the data set, is it possible that we retrieve it maybe? And Hamid, maybe give me a thumbs up or something if I'm on the right track with paraphrasing. Okay, great. So Barath, are you able to talk to that? So we've got these suggestions from Copilot on the right-hand side based on your very rich and beautiful prompt. If it makes any changes, how would you revert back to the original?
I'll probably go back towards on how you use Excel on a day-to-day basis. So whenever you make any changes to a data, what is the process that you normally follow to sort of retrieve back, right? So it's pretty similar to that. So you're asking Copilot to actually update an information. So which means which is sort of intentional in terms of what you want to update. So I would just go back and undo the information over here, or to just revert back my data. I know if the document is being saved online, you do have versioning features that do comes up with the file getting saved in OneDrive or SharePoint. So you can very well retrieve back the older data from the previous versions. But in saying that, I would highly recommend, if it's say a production file or a production data that you're working with, make sure you plan first in terms of the changes that you want to make, validate the information, and then allow Copilot to make those changes to your document or to your data.
Great, thank you, Barath. Can you do me another quick favor before we move on? Can you copy? I know you've got a copy of it separately. Put your copy of that prompt just into the chat so people can just have a look at it, ruminate over it, and how it's got all the right ingredients in there for a great prompt. Thank
100%.
you. The other thing that I'm doing for everyone, sorry,
one question. So if you're looking to use a prompt, make sure that you update the table name that I have mentioned here. So you might not have the sales 2026 table with you. So make sure you update the table name to your relevant data and then try and use the prompt.
Great. The other thing that I'm doing as well is getting my trusty behind the scenes, Charlie Lai. She's going to put in a link to our website where you can go then and see all of the pre-recordings so that you don't have to look so far. Now, Naomi Pierce, team's not been set up correct, or we've not set you up correctly, you're getting an error message. Absolutely, I'll take that on board and have a chat internally to be able to assist you with that one. All right, now, Barath, I'm going to throw back to you because you'll have an agenda that I've interrupted. Off you go.
Awesome. That's right. I mean, questions are always good. Happy to answer them as we go through. Cool. So this is sort of the Excel data. So now we have got the summary. We've got the online summary in terms of what's needed, what we need to reply back to readers. Now, before we go into the commercial meeting, I had to prepare a proposal for the meeting. So, and let me bring up my Word document. Sweet. All right, so this is an proposal sitting half finished in my OneDrive. As you can see here, I've got 3 sections drafted, two unmarked, to-do sections that I have here, the current status, the outstanding action items, the Q4 position, which was one of the talking points by the client, contours of financial, where there's been a dip on the sales. And then the adoption plan that's needed to update the proposal. So let me show you how you can use Copilot to sort of update the proposal, right? So when I say updating the proposal, you'll be using again the same agent mode within Copilot, where it will be able to fetch the email details from your email and also the details from your spreadsheet. And then, sort of you can see how you can write the Word document for you. So before I do that, let me just try and turn on the track changes so like everyone can actually see what Copilot has changed and what it is writing. So in terms of how you want to access Copilot within Word, it is the similar way on how we access them within Excel. So click on this little icon on the bottom right. So you get the same view. Now it's pretty much the same feature on how you want to toggle to allow editing or chat only, and you can see here you don't have the additional or the third option where you had plan only option within Word document. So that's because that's the difference between the features within Word and Excel in itself. Excel is more numerical data analysis, where you need a little bit more planning in terms of how you want to do how we want to update the data or manage them. Whereas Word is pretty much you can still make use of the track changes to sort of see the changes that you are about to make. So but I would still it's still important that you still plan the details that you want to make changes before you allow Copilot to edit. So let me put another prompt here quickly. Sweet. I'll just zoom in a bit.
Yeah, that's a detailed one. Do you want to pop it in the chat as well so that
yeah, I will.
While you've got it in your clipboard.
For some reason,
it's not.
Oops. Cool. Awesome. So there are a few details in this prompt here, right? So let me just take a minute to actually go through them. So what I'm telling Copilot is to act as my consultant, and I'm saying like this is sort of the proposal or the pilot expansion proposal for the customer Contoso. So I'm saying Copilot to plan the edit first before you apply them. So this is sort of important. So Copilot do plan the details in terms of what needs to be updated. So I'm saying Copilot, to read my recent Outlook thread with Daniel Park at Contoso, about the Copilot pilot expansion. So that's because like I haven't gone through my emails that's been sent last night. So I'm asking Copilot to go through and read my details. So from my Outlook and extract every commitment or decision and dates and named contacts from the email. And number two is I'm asking Copilot to pull the one paragraph commentary, that was generated with the Excel file which we had. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to refer the Excel file here properly. Sweet. So I will just refer the Excel file, and I will ask Copilot to read the file and then generate the Q4 commentary based on the sales data that we had to add into this proposal. And step 3 is to ask Copilot to sort of rewrite few sections, which is the risk and compliance. And I've asked Copilot to replace all the to-do sections with the actual data from the Excel commentary, and then update the file as needed. So this is sort of the detailed prompt where I have given Copilot to make or to write a complete proposal, right? So because there are quite a few sections that are not complete in this proposal, as you can see, it needs to get the current status from the emails from my Outlook. It needs to understand the outstanding actions again from my emails. Uh, that has been messy all the time, or I would have skipped reading few emails, and I want to write the current key4 positions from the current sales data, so which is sitting in another file which is in Excel, right? And also come up with an adoption plan based on the again, right, the emails that has been discussed over with the team members and the customers. So let me just run this prompt and see what Copilot does. We'll just give it a minute. I mean, when the as Copilot runs this prompt, you can actually see the reasoning that it does. So
yeah, that's different now. It used to take a couple of minutes and then pop it out. So you get to see what it's thinking when it's taking us through, which is different.
As all I did in the prompt, all I said in the prompt was to read my recent Outlook thread with Daniel Park at Contoso. And as you can see here, Copilot has rightly pointed out to the email that came from Daniel Park, and then it has started expanding or started reading those email contents for it to, extract the data and understand the deadlines and the further details that are needed. So let's go. Right. So because we have specifically set Copilot to plan before we execute, so it is sort of writing up the plan for us within the chat. So for us to verify the details, and then we would be able to sort of ask Copilot to update the proposal directly. Yeah. So I'll say apply the changes in the document. I've gone through and I have read everything, and I've just asked Copilot to update them in the document or write in the document directly. Yeah. Yep. Hopefully it writes. There you go.
There we go.
So you can actually see Copilot writing things for you, which normally takes time for everyone, where you can avoid.
That's because Copilot is a real person, Bharat, and you got to treat it like so. Is my best friend. My other best friend is Control Z, in the world of technology.
It's yeah. I mean, it's not a real person. It's still a teammate, I would say.
Fair. I shouldn't tell fibs.
Cool. All right. So here you go. So you can actually see the key thing here is how Copilot was able to interact with multiple applications, like from your Outlook. It was able to read the information from your Outlook. It was able to read the data from your worksheet that is sitting in another application, and then it was able to actually write a document for you, which is brilliant, I would say. In real world scenario, for a person to write this document, he has to. I'm not sure how I use Alt Tab to switch between applications. I'm not sure how different people does. So I would have clicked probably 50 or 100 Alt Tabs to go back and forth between the application to sort of write the proposal for me.
Yeah, but also just getting it written into that finished way is really what I find the benefit for, because you'll be sort of pondering around how to round out your sentences, and it just puts it in there for you. It's great.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. So that's how you can use Copilot within your productivity apps like the Word, Excel. I believe it's been extended to PowerPoint as well. So and yeah, make sure you plan the information that you want to make before you actually make changes to any data within your application.
Yeah, Great. Hey, Brett, I've got a couple of questions. Aidan's taken care of one of them for me, but one that's sitting there waiting is, will Copilot work in a document? I'm assuming it's a Word document open from a folder in a CRM or a matter management system. Sounds like Robin is in the legal space or the legal sector. So I'll just read that again. Will Copilot work if the document is opened from a folder in a CRM matter management software in Microsoft 365 via OneDrive? Is the full question.
I think if the document is sitting within OneDrive and if the user has got the right permissions applied, then the user using Copilot will have access to the documents, that are being fetched from the CRM software and stored in the OneDrive. So yeah. So you just need to make sure the user has got right permissions, right licenses assigned.
Right, okay. Thank you. And we've also got sort of a question that's underway around how Copilot is able to work with Word document template styles. So Robin's asking again, how we ask Copilot to work with particular template styles, will it be able to learn to apply correct formatting across over time? So this is one of those ones that the more that you interact with Copilot in your particular document style, does Copilot learn how you wish your templates to be correctly ordered? I'm looking again, there's a second commentary around it. Also, they, in Robin's business, have set styles applied to their Word document templates. Can Copilot just simply learn that kind of configuration, or do we need to keep telling it?
That's actually a great question, and I think Copilot is still evolving in terms of learning the templates, because each template will have its own fonts, own colors, own details in it. But like one of the recent features with Cowork, you will be able to build a custom skill within Cowork for Copilot to understand your specific templates. So that's one of the approach which I have seen to make Copilot use the specific templates to sort of write documents. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait until it goes GA to see how accurate it is, and how easy it is for an end user to sort of utilize the templated versions. But yeah, I mean, in the meantime, we'll still tell Copilot in terms of what is the brand, what is the color, what is the template or the logos that needs to be used.
Okay, but it's always watch this space, because things just move so quickly, as we can tell. So from a couple of months ago to now, so many different changes, enhancements to before. So it is moving quickly, and that's why we will continue to keep running these sessions over and over. Not over and over in terms of the same content, but we're staying in AI because it is so forever changing. Before I take back control, is there anything further you wanted to add? I'm just keeping my eye on the clock. It's 12:50, so we really should be pressing into question times. Have you got anything last on your list?
I mean, I can quickly go through the agent builder, and then we can just wrap it up with questions. So
great, yeah.
Go, awesome. So the screen which you are seeing now is the Copilot app, and I'm just going to quickly show everyone on how to create an agent within Copilot app. I know we did cover this a bit detailed in previous sessions, so I'm just going to keep it high level. So I have already created an agent here called a customer service agent, for my company. And what this agent does is, it sort of surfaces the data grounded within SharePoint, and it just acts like an retrieval agent, right? So it's going to answer questions about the customers within the company. So just making helping the sellers to understand more about their customers. Even if one of your colleagues goes on leave, and you would be able to use the agent to sort of answer your end customers, based on the knowledge that you currently have. So in terms of how you create an agent within Agent Builder, so you could sort of see this little button that says New Agent. That will take you up to this window where you can actually describe the agent that you want to be created to Copilot in a natural language way. So this is one of the approaches on how you create. So you could just describe. You could just say, hey, you are a customer service agent, and you can do so-and-so actions within the company, and then there will be a bunch of follow-up questions that Copilot is going to ask you, and you can take that approach to sort of create an agent. But I'm going to quickly skip that approach and actually go through the details of what are the different configurations that are actually sitting behind the scenes in terms of creating an agent. So when you try and manually create an agent, so the first thing is you name an agent. You can, in this case, you can give this as a customer service agent, and then you can sort of describe your agent, what it is. So these are more of a front-end knowledge purpose details that you are giving to an agent. And the important aspect is the instructions, right? So instructions are nothing but the direct behavior of what the agent is, including what are the tasks that it can do and how it actually completes them. So this is a space where you describe what the agent should do in terms of, you can say, hey, I want you to respond in a more friendly manner or professional manner. And you can sort of outline the rules, guidelines that the agent needs to follow. You can say, be concise with your response to a specific set of knowledge sources, so it doesn't go, crazy to sort of hallucinate the details and fetch you details from the internet. So those are sort of the instructions that you can give. And in terms of the knowledge sources, where what is the knowledge source that the agent needs to refer back to sort of, provide you back the response or provide you back the information. So there are a few built-in like knowledge sources within the M365 ecosystem. Like you can add files, you can add meetings, chats, emails, and websites. So this is the place where you define them all. And as you can see here, you can turn this toggle on to make sure that your agent uses only the specified sources to give you the right data. And yeah, that's pretty much simple. Like, with the agent builder, this is how simple on how you can actually build a retrieval agent. I'm going to actually show you the agent which I have created, so you can actually see those details. Cool. So I'm naming this as a customer service agent, and I'm saying that you are a briefing agent for Pax8 New Zealand, and instructions are the real important thing for an agent to make an agent how to act, right? So I'm giving specific details, like your job is to brief our account team on our top customers using so and so library from the SharePoint side. So I'm saying the agent that you are only looking at the files within SharePoint and not anything else. So, and I'm also saying never invent facts, right? So because we are talking about an agent giving details about a customer, so it's really important that it doesn't invent details about a client by itself, which is a really important thing. So, and I'm also telling the agent to return the response in a specific format, right? So because we are talking about the customer, I want to know about what is the relationship summary, what is the recent activities, what are the open issues, and so on, so details. So whenever I ask a question to an agent, so it returns back with the response in a specific format. And then in terms of the data, I have referred the agent to a specific SharePoint site where I have got all the notes about the customers that's been saved within SharePoint. So, and in terms of how the agent can work, let me give you an example. Just go back quickly.
So you're just moving out of the editing version of that agent now back into the I'm ready. It's ready and a published version of the agent.
Yeah. So once you sort of go through the steps, you will have an option to sort of say create, and then the agent gets created and it actually sits within your M365 applications under the agent sections. So say, for example, I'm saying, give me a full briefing on contours of financial. And now what the agent does is it sort of refers back to the SharePoint site, and it's going to look for the customer called contours of financial. And then it should actually return the response in a format that I have asked for, like, with the relationship, what are the open issues, what are the action items, and so on. And there you go.
Yeah, great. Yeah, very good. And so we went into that in building an agent in quite a lot of depth in our last workshop too. So if anybody is wanting to go through that process a little bit more slowly, feel free to jump on our website and find a link to that previous recording. Thank you, Aidan. All right, we are going to have to wrap up. There's just a couple of things that I wanted to say before we go. We appreciate you joining us today, so we thank you for spending your lunch break with us. We have another workshop coming up in the next month. So in June, we're going to be running the workshop all around Copilot Co-work, which is one of the hottest versions of Copilot. It's very talked about within KMT. There's a lot of the team here personally using it. So it's a really exciting one to be able to showcase in June. So, and then also, of course, thank you to our Pax8 team. We really appreciate all of your expertise. And then finally, before we send you off, we do have a QR code that you can use your phone to be able to capture, and it'll lead you to your putting in your interest around getting a business assessment done, a readiness assessment for your environment to use Copilot. So we have been obviously talking to a lot of our clients at KMT, but understanding there's a few clients or people on the line that aren't KMT clients. Feel free to still engage with us if you like, and we can do a readiness assessment. That's just really understanding around all the housekeeping that you have in place currently for your environment, making sure that it's all ready for having the agents reach into all dark corners of your environment. So as I feel like I make it sound a little bit scary, and I guess it should be. It should be a little bit scary. These agents are super powerful, so I should always encourage you to engage with your account managers and have that discussion. All right, well, thank you once again. Thank you to everybody for joining us. That is the conclusion of our event today, and we wish you well. Have a great day, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks all.
Thanks, everyone.